Hey there, my name is Chris. Welcome to the show. If you listen to the Harris Football Podcast, you know that part of our Tuesday episodes are devoted to the Waiver Wire, but you get a nice sneak preview here on the YouTube channel on Monday evenings. And if you don't listen to the Harris Football Podcast, but you like this YouTube channel, oh baby, have I got a week daily podcast for you. I do 5 shows a week. Search Harris Football wherever you get podcasts. So anyway, let's get that head start on the Waiver Wire for Week 12 with a preliminary look. And as always, we'll begin with some names to know in shallower leagues. James Conner pulled the trick on us last Thursday by playing 12 snaps and re-injuring his shoulder. Time for a break. And heaven knows Pittsburgh's offense isn't good, and Jalen Samuels isn't that good, but he can catch a check down, and that's what Mason Rudolph does. So Samuels looks like the most startable player available in 2/3 of Yahoo leagues or fewer. Darius Geis was not handed the reins in Washington. The snap count was 18 Geis, 16 Adrian Peterson, and 27 Wendell Smallwood playing from behind, but at least Geis burst into the clear for a long receiving score. He's more of a hold and hope. Devontae Parker, 5 of his 7 catchers came in a blowout. The numbers look better than he is. I fear he goes away in any given game, the moments the Dolphins play competitively, but I get adding him. Fuller may return Thursday night against the Colts, and Deebo Samuel, kind of a drop machine. Sometimes we'll run the wrong route, sometimes we'll fumble, but a really good athlete, and Emmanuel Sanders isn't healthy, so some targets may be there for Samuel against Green Bay next Sunday. And then let's get to the main event, players who are available in 1/3 of Yahoo leagues or fewer. And basically, I'm hoping where this channel can add value is with players like this, because everyone who talks about fantasy football is going to say, oh, Marlon Mack hurt, Ty Johnson, weird usage, the Colts and Lions backfields have openings, all that matters is opportunity, boom, we don't even need to worry about what the players are. And we, on this channel, are going to show you film on the possible replacements so you can see them in action yourself and come to your own conclusions. That'll include the first 2 names on this list, Jonathan Williams and Bo Scarbrough, and then also a touch of Nyheim Hines and probably some J.D. McKissick in there too. He's owned in about 1/3 of Yahoo leagues. We showed you Noah Fant's film on last week's waiver show. He was quite involved Sunday against the Vikings. 11 targets, probably a slight exaggeration. Some of them weren't all that catchable. Also, Drew Lock might be in at quarterback for Denver, and then who knows. But I'm going to continue to stream Fant. And if you're on the lookout for a receiver, I'm no huge fan of James Washington, but Smith-Schuster and Deontay Johnson are both hurt. We'll see if they can play. Washington might be the only vaguely starter quality receiver in town for the Steelers, Week 12 against the Bengals. We will be right back, and we will talk about those Indy and Detroit backfields. Hey, a word to say that if you know it's time for a new mattress in your house, I really recommend Leesa. I sleep on a Leesa mattress every night. I'm a big believer. I'm also a believer in Leesa as a company. They just won a Best for the Planet award from B Labs, which speaks to their charitable ways. They have donated thousands of mattresses to make sure kids in shelters have somewhere to sleep, and also to their environmental ways. Their American facilities live up to the highest standards of sustainability. Of course, none of that matters if the mattress isn't great, but they will give you 100 nights to sleep on it and to try it out. And if you don't love it, send it back, get your money back, no questions asked. And we can get you 15% off right now if you go to Leesa.com and use the promo code HarrisTube. Okay, let's talk Colts running backs. And unfortunately, the reason we're talking Colts running backs is that on this harmless-looking play, Marlon Mack broke his hand. He's already had surgery. He's certainly out Thursday night against the Texans and probably for longer than that. And the Colts have a great line, and we need a replacement. Jonathan Williams was already popping a little bit in the second quarter Sunday, even before Mack got hurt. What we pay attention to here is, well, okay, that's an absolutely massive lane to run through, but when Williams gets through it, he stop-foots, he go-foots, he halts himself and pushes off on the same step. There's a little bit of agility there, gets around a tackler, shows some quickness on this 16-yard gain. Here's a look at Jonathan Williams' regular season career to this point. He's 6 foot. He's 217 pounds. We remember him as a prospect with the Bills a few years ago. He bounced around with the Broncos and the Saints. I never really shared the love of Williams as a supposed sleeper that we used to hear about. I mean, he was supposed to be Buffalo's future at the position until they unceremoniously waived him a couple of years ago. It's possible he could be a late bloomer. That first run that we just showed you on film was pretty good. Here's a little screen, also before Mack's injury. And yeah, it's 31 yards on a third and forever give up kind of screen. I'm afraid this isn't really a reason to be all that tantalized about Williams' stats from Sunday's win over Jacksonville. There aren't a lot of running backs in the NFL who wouldn't have been able to do this, which of course brings us to situation because the Colts sure can block. This is the longest run of Williams' career, and again, it's just a huge hole. It's a nice little burst to not get caught there at the second level. But if we want to see the deal with Jonathan Williams, watch him get run down. Watch him himself realize, oh no, I cannot outrun these guys. I'm going to get caught. And he surely does. So of his 147 massive scrimmage yards on Sunday, 79 on these past two plays we've shown you, I would characterize as nothing that he did that was all that special. But there was a little stop foot, go foot there, and if Williams has a strength, it's really strength. Whatever, 217 pounds, 220 pounds, whatever he is, he's got good leg drive. Please, we'd love to see him get used in a goal line situation Thursday night. I would feel pretty good about him finding the end zone with that offensive line helping push him. And he doesn't quite make it into the end zone here, but he also basically moves Miles Jack completely just with leg drive. On this one, again, not a lot of moves, but Williams grinds out a 5-yard gain where there's really nothing there. He's a strong running back. Hey, but when the Colts got in close early fourth quarter, it wasn't just Williams. This is Nyheim Hines from in close. A shotgun draw. Again, the sheer number of creases that Colts running backs will get in a given game, it makes worth considering all of them. And Hines, also adds some receiving chops. And let's add even more complication. Marlon Mack's normal backup, Jordan Wilkins, was inactive on Sunday with an ankle injury, but we don't know for sure that Wilkins, as of my recording this, will miss Thursday night. And maybe it'll turn out that he should have been on this waiver list. Maybe he's the one who should be added, but until we know Wilkins' fate, it's hard for me to say that. If you told me you were positive Thursday night would be Jonathan Williams 2/3 and Nyheim Hines 1/3, which is about what it was after Mack's injury, well, I would prefer Jonathan Williams, which is why he's at the top of the waiver wire food chain this week, likelier to score the short touchdown, even though we saw Hines do it this week. But as we've seen again and again, just because teams tell us how they'll deploy their backfields, it doesn't mean they're telling the truth. And I think Hines has a chance to have value anyway. With that offensive line creating those level of creases, that's why we've got Williams at number 1 and Hines at number 3. I would be adding Williams first. Hines has a chance too. Okay, and then speaking of teams who will annoy us with not telling the truth exactly, hello, Detroit Lions. We were told Ty Johnson was ready to go, yet on the first carry Sunday against the Cowboys, what big dude is that taking the ball? Well, that's Bo Scarbrough. Next time they run, getting closer, Scarbrough again. The Lions didn't tell us this was coming, and they don't have to. They don't owe us anything. They don't have to be honest. They certainly were not honest. And then, sure, just sign with the team. Go ahead and start, and go ahead and score a touchdown. And what we can see from this play is, Scarbrough, not fast, but there are some running backs when number 90, DeMarcus Lawrence, hits them like that, maybe they'd be knocked down or at least off balance, and Scarbrough blasts through, gets to the end zone, a touchdown that helped nobody because we couldn't possibly have known he'd be deployed this way. This usage chart for the Lions running backs from Week 11 makes it look like Ty Johnson was involved. I'm sorry, the Lions seem to have lost some faith in him as a ball carrier. I barely noticed him on this film until Detroit's final 2 desperation drives, and he didn't really touch it much then either, but he was in there. Apparently, maybe they do trust him in pass protection. Let's face it, the Lions have been yanking us around, thinking we know what's going to happen in their backfield in the weeks since Kerryon Johnson got hurt, and we just do not know. This play, to me, represents a limitation of Scarbrough. We don't have a game replay, so we'll slow it down so you can see it. Well, it's a huge hole, and he's meeting a linebacker, and he's untouched, but he's already lumbering and kind of stumbling as he tries to lower his head and initiate contact. He's just not going to be a dynamic player at the line of scrimmage. And when he has success, listen, he's still going to be slow getting going. Like his former college teammate, Derrick Henry, he's going to need a while. And yeah, probably maybe he has a little more agility once he gets to the second level compared to Henry, but also he's like 20, 25 pounds lighter. Still, Scarborough's not going to run away from anybody, and Derrick Henry will. But this obviously worked. I mean, these big guys, sure, let them get going. Yes, I think most people, if it's blocked well, could get a gain. But someone like Scarbrough, we have to admit, he can punish a tackler once he gets there. But I still don't want to forget about J.D. McKissic, who isn't big, who is a college wide receiver at Arkansas State, who probably can't handle a giant workload. But man, this is a 3rd and 5, and he gets it on his own. Almost knocked over by his own offensive lineman, spins, and kind of breaks a tackle, escapes just enough to stretch for the first down. It seems like I'm showing you plays like this from McKissic every week. Every bit as lumbering as Scarbrough was, this is just a wow play from McKissic. A spin, a broken tackle, a jump step, 22 yards. I mean, he only played 13 snaps. It's not a lot. It's hard for me to promise you anything. But that little dude just makes plays. And as I said, the Lions seem to delight in tormenting fantasy owners. And just as with the Colts, I can't promise you squat in terms of usage Week 12 against Washington. We are in the domain of the desperate. If we're going to be expecting consistency, who knows? Ty Johnson could come back and be the main guy again. If I'm the Lions, I'd use McKissic more. But as a fantasy owner, I think Scarbrough is probably the ad. The ceiling is that if he works out, I mean, he could be slightly smaller Derrick Henry. Maybe he finds magic for a month and helps you make a deep playoff run, and that's worth an ad. But the floor for Scarbrough is that he was a 1-week wonder, and bye-bye. And ain't that life in fantasy football in 2019? Thanks so much for watching. Please, please, please smash that like button, write a comment, tell us who else you'd like to see us review film on, and of course, best of all, please subscribe to our channel and then click that little bell above the subscribe button and you'll be notified whenever we post a new video.